Welcome to Well Traveled Life with Jonathan and Jennifer. We're in Renfrewshire, just outside of Glasgow.
We are staying
With David at Norwood House. We are in a beautiful neighborhood that would make you think that David's got something going on.
What's going on?
What attracted us to David's space was that it was in a small town called Bridge of Weir, and we were able to drive to a public parking area and take the train from Paisley into Glasgow. So we knew we wouldn't have to park in the city, and driving was pretty easy.
Where you're staying in Renfrewshire, you're near Paisley, and the Paisley pattern was first mass produced there. If you go to Paisley itself, they have a great museum. Jerry Rafferty, the singer, is from Paisley, down the line, Baker Street, right? There's also an abbey there from like the medieval ages. So if you have time to go to Paisley, it's...
David's is an older home with some really great history that he has done a lot of renovation to. But as is required by law there, he has maintained the entire exterior just as it would have looked when it was first built.
Came here and I had to start all over again.
Our friend Tammy had come to visit us in Scotland and was going to be with us for 3 weeks. So it had worked out well. We picked her up at the airport. We were able to drive back to David's house, get a good night's sleep, have a lot of fun, and then head into Glasgow the next day.
David does a magnificent job of looking to all the details. So whether it's fresh flowers in the entryway, candles lit every night, beautifully furnished rooms. We used this one for playing cards. We're lovely formal areas that actually become comfortable spaces when filled with people.
So the house, it's 1840. It was used as a school originally. The chap next door said about the turn of the century, not this century, the last century, in the 1800s, there was 4 people in residence here. 3 of them were sisters, aged 40, 41 and 42. They were teachers. And there was a 15-year-old girl who was here for the purpose of domestic duties. And it was a school. She's obviously been the scullery maid, as we call them.
Throughout this video, we'll talk to David and tour his house. A link to the rental is in the description.
The breakfast room was perfect for morning tea and a piece of toast before we headed out for a big day. This laundry area has a large American refrigerator freezer that David uses, and he keeps the kitchen refrigerator here stocked for his guests. The kitchen itself is large, it's perfectly appointed, and comes with a dishwasher if you bring your own guest. There are doorways out to the upper patio from the kitchen, and from the laundry room you can also head out to that same patio and then go down to the lower patio and the lawn area. David has built this patio himself and designed the fountain that goes with it. His workshop is off to the side.
And the other thing is I've got that workshop there. Well, there's 2 classic cars and a motorbike in there. So I've got my man cave. I don't need to generate a man cave in there, albeit that Jonathan discovered my other man cave last night. You know.
That's the music cave.
Yes.
There were some good sweet sounds coming out of that music cave last night.
We've only just changed that, done very much like an office before, and I took it all, and one of the reasons I took it all apart was to get the wall that faces that direction, which is south. It's the only external wall, and I always felt in there that the radiator was too small. Not anymore, because what I did was took all the lath and plaster off the wall, put new framing in and insulated in between it, put new plasterboards on, and then I did the decorative stuff around the bottom, and suddenly I don't need a new radiator in it.
David, what would it take for some local musicians who want to play in a pub to get you to come out of bass playing
retirement? Wouldn't do much at all, just because I quite like the jamming thing and jamming, so it's good to get a wee jam session going now and again. The only time that becomes not fun is when people get very serious about it and want to turn the hobby into an earning potential, you know, and I had all that years ago, where they think we should all go and live in some commune somewhere so we can be seen and be heard. Not necessarily, gentlemen, you know. So it wouldn't take much at all, really.
A wee dram for a wee jam.
Ramming and jamming.
There's more on whiskey and music throughout the video.
I'll get my bumping tunes, and I'll get my chilling tunes. I've also got folk and country tunes, which is, oh God, it would take you a long time to get through all that.
Okay. A couple of highlights.
Steely Dan has always
Yeah.
got to be in there. Eagles always got to be in there. Like Doobie Brothers as well. Zeppelin, of course, every playlist must have that.
And you were doing a couple of the acoustic numbers, which were kind of sweet, but
That
the
was-
harder stuff as well, or?
That was from Led Zeppelin 3.
Yeah.
That was that's the way from Zeppelin 3.
Yeah.
When I played Black Dog, that was from Zeppelin 4. I played some Doobie Brothers as well.
Yeah.
What was that one? Long Train Running was one of them.
Yeah.
I can't remember. China Grove was the other one I played. Played a wee bit of AC/DC.
Joni Mitchell, you were doing some of that, or?
Because she does the open tuning as well. And just so you remember, it's D-A-D-G-A-D.
Dead King.
Dad. And you can even just in standard tuning just drop the low E down to a D. Gives you that nice expanded sound.
Drill, yeah.
And I played Kashmir last night,
Yeah.
which is G-A-D F sharp A-D.
Okay.
So it's a
right.
dad fad tuning. And that's Jimi Hendrix, Jimmy Page does all that stuff.
Yeah.
Clever man. So, funny enough, I love some just acoustic music. I've actually got an acoustic rock set that I play on my Spotify. And it's not one that I put together, it's one that you can literally just download.
Yeah.
So it's bands like Bon Jovi and stuff like that, doing all the acoustic versions of their material.
Yeah.
And I sometimes get a wee bit envious of these guys who can sit and do that, you know.
Yeah.
I'm quite ham-fisted, you know, and I've got a heavy percussive style, as you may have noticed. It's quite I'm a bass player.
Yeah.
So I play acoustic guitar and I just feel as if I'm trying to kill the damn thing.
He likes to play drums on his guitar.
On his
You can
guitar.
get a nice sound of turn the guitar over and play.
It's like a,
You get some really nice sounds all over the place.
yeah, it's like a cajon.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
I quite like doing that. So that's a campfire standard, you know, is flip a guitar around and just start getting a wee groove down and then somebody else picks up on that and say, oh, I know a song that does that. So we will probably do this tomorrow when we go away camping, is we'll pass one guitar round the campfire and you start with A, there's your guitar. So you've got to ABBA's band. We don't do ABBA. You might get a Horse with No Name, America. You know, easy ones.
Horse with no name, yeah.
So you get that was Horse with No Name. So yeah.
Oh, the Scottish humor.
Easy
Scottish
to
humor.
get the Beatles and stuff like that, and
Yeah.
so you just go around the campfire till you get to ZZ Top. By that time,
Wow.
the drum and the jam, the
I
type
was
of
just saying,
bed.
that takes bigger than a wee drum.
Tell you, some of the times you end up playing, you know, you think to yourself, God, sure, you only know a wee bit of a chorus, but that's enough to comply with the rules.
Yeah.
Rules of engagement.
Oh, that's great fun, though. That is great fun.
And you hear sometimes we've done this before, singing around the campfire, and there's maybe somebody up halfway up the glen. Hears the music, 'cause it travels far at night.
Yes.
And the next thing you get somebody kind of peeking through the bushes and saying, "Can we join you?"
That's great.
Of course you can.
My neighbor played guitar and sang terribly, but passionately. We had kind of adjoining courtyards, and I would hear him out there. I could tell he'd been drinking. I would go out there and we'd play for 2 hours. I love you, Ed.
I've got a couple of Islay malts in the house at the moment, and they're all the same. The only reason they're all the same and they've lasted this long is because I don't like them. I prefer Speyside malts, which is really nice soft water. The water is very soft, and when you go for a shower you can't get the bubbles out your hair. Speyside malts are lovely and soft, and they're almost got a sweetness to them. And one of my favourites is a grain whisky. It's not a malt at all. called White Mackay. I can let you taste it.
We did some tasting in the coziest indoor room.
This large family room features a huge TV, and David had a fire burning for us when we came in from the patio after it had gotten chilly when the sun went down. What a perfect space to relax, talk, and share good times.
Particular whisky is actually stored for a long, long time in oak barrels. The first one is a sherry cask, then it's in a bourbon cask, because you silly American people throw your casks away after you put stuff in them. We buy them up and say, let's get the flavour of the bourbon. And then the other one, hell knows what that was, but it's 3 different casks. It's stored for a long time in wood barrels, and it soaks up all the essence of sherry, bourbon, and some other damn thing, which I think was drain cleaner. But there it is, triple barrels. As for bouncing around on my own in there, I could probably live in this corner here, where the TV is and the kitchen's there and there's a bathroom there. All I think it's missing is a hammer, and I could live comfortably in this small corner. But I like the house, and what I like is this area. It's just really here's birds mostly in this room, you know. And so then you think to yourself, where would I need to go to get that again? I could downsize, but then I just like the house. And I pay attention to detail. Look, I built this on as an extension, albeit it's been painted now. But at the time when I was getting the rough cast on the wall, I took all the old stuff off so that it was all matching all the way around. You know, and that's right through to the double doors.
So no patchy feeling.
Yes, because it would have been very obvious. That up there's need painting. I know that's. I'm waiting to my guests stop arriving. You know, then I'll get in and get on with that. You know, before the winter comes. But that's the master plan. And the house would probably had a different kind of feel then, because when I took all that rough cast off, it was obvious that there was a door there at one point. And if you look in the kitchen, there's the beam that goes across. That was 2 separate rooms. So one's been maybe like a coal shed and maybe a laundry where they boil up the clothes and everything like that. So it's changed. But I just love it. I just think it's a great place to be.
There is a downstairs powder room, which is perfect for those last minute gotta goes before you go.
And what I didn't tell you is the way you negotiate the house has changed. Door there where there used to be a door, and that's used to be the door there. So that I had to get the house to flow better. And it took me a long time to do that. In the process of that, I made sure everything was up to the modern spec, like double glazed windows, insulation under the floor, insulation in the walls, just so the place is easy to live in.
All of the guest rooms are upstairs, but David does ask that you remove your shoes to keep the carpets clean. He keeps the lights on in the landing all night long so that people can see to get to the restroom. The restroom is separate from the bedrooms. It's in the half hallway, so it's just a few steps down from your bedroom. The bathroom includes heated towel racks. This sink that I have fallen in love with, it is really large and just, God, it's a great sink. I love it. A full shower with a really cool shower head and a dual wand, as well as a large sunken tub, and of course the toilet. But these heated floors will just keep your toes toasty if you have one of those midnight restroom runs.
On the top floor are 2 guest bedrooms, a dressing room, David's office, and David's bedroom.
What do you enjoy about having guests besides some extra income?
I did it originally because I missed the company, funny enough, because I used to have a wife and daughter here, and daughter got married, wife went somewhere else, and it was a kind of just to let the house get used, you know, because I always just felt that it was underutilized. So I always just felt that. So it was just a kind of mad notion I had, to tell you the truth. It was just a crazy mad notion that I would do this. And then I found it was quite rewarding in as much as getting the 5-star reviews from people, and people genuinely enjoying coming and living in a kind of shared environment. The only thing I really need to improve upon really would be locks to bedroom doors. I've had female guests here, let alone female, and one girl came here and she wanted to use the white room at the front.
Yep.
And I said, now listen, I will not be offended. But see if you want to look at this other room, it's got a lock on the door. She says, no, I'm good. So she was quite happy with that. She obviously decided she trusted me and that she was going to be safe.
Yes.
And everybody's obviously going to be safe with her here, but so that was quite a kind of comforting thought that she was given the choice and didn't need it.
Yeah.
So that's maybe a wee improvement I could make, but generally in the house there's plenty of space in, there's plenty of room in it. You know, when all four of us milling around and we weren't bumping into each other hardly, you know, so you get your own space.
Yeah.
So I quite like it for that as well.
The two guest rooms are on opposite sides of the hallway and separated by a really fabulous dressing area, which we didn't actually use. This was the master bedroom. The primary bedroom includes a queen-size bed, windows overlooking the lovely backyard, a chair, a TV, a dresser, an extra chair that I use just for holding our backpacks, a full-sized mirror, a wardrobe, and end tables on both sides. The linens in this room are absolutely sumptuous, and David has throw blankets everywhere in the background, and one of these windows we were able to open so that we got a really lovely, cool, crisp air at night. And this was the guest bedroom. We used both as we had Tammy with us for this trip. This is the secondary guest bedroom. It has a window looking out on the front, a queen-sized bed, a chaise lounge, a really nice wardrobe, a writing area and desk.
This is the room that does not have a lock on the door.
And how long have you lived here?
22 years.
How many more years of projects do you have?
That's an unfair question. It just depends on your imagination, you know. I want to finish the other, which is actually got another water feature over there where the block work is. Yeah. I want to finish that. The other thing I want to do is up in the attic space in the workshop, the stairs go up there. Yeah. So you don't need to climb a ladder as such, it's actually stairs. And there's a Swiss Family Robinson, there's a cord you pull and put around a latch, and the hatch goes up like that, parallel to the stairs, so you can walk up. And what I want to do is put what we call dormer windows. So just watch this, two of them there, so that you. So if mummy's got a kid, so somebody else buys the house basically, it's daddy's man cave downstairs and kids upstairs. Yeah. So they could put train set up there and stuff like that. And mum just needs to come to the back door and shout, dinner's ready, so they all come out. I want to do that. That's not for me, really, it's just something I want to just develop it. That's what I want to do. There's a garage, or a garage as you guys would say. The driveway is there, and I put in the other driveway at the front. Yeah. So that was something I improved upon. So I had actually to apply for planning permission for that. Okay. All the windows, you can see they're actually being replaced. These windows have all been replaced, but they had to be absolutely identical to the ones I took out, albeit they're made from a different type of timber. They've been protected for seasonal adjustments, etc., and they're double glazed. Yeah. So to do all that, I had to put the exact same profile in. So the picture of the house 30 years ago and the picture of the house now are the same. This yard here, I didn't apply for planning permission for that. But
you might not want me to put that on.
I couldn't care less. Couldn't care less because it's staying. But I did actually do my research because the boundary walls, you can see they're all stone walls around the boundary, they're only allowed to be a certain height. Okay. That's inside the boundary. So I'm allowed to put that up to basically whatever height I like because it's, and then it's behind these trees and things like that.
It's wonderful. I love this secluded courtyard feel in here. I think it's great.
Well, that's what I was kind of aiming for, you know, when I did this. It had that, just to use the right word, the courtyard, you know, and I just wanted it to be a place. So I can come out here and just sit in that swing sometimes and just sit for an hour, just gazing at the sky and so on and so forth. Just suddenly you're calm. And I say, if you're going to have a bad day, have it in a place like this. Because you can have a bad day in a bad place and you just don't want that, you know. It's never going to get any better, but this place works for me.
It worked for us too.
Quick reaction. Separation. Great Britain and Scotland.
I'm a unionist. I prefer Scotland to be part of the United Kingdom as it has been for 300 years. I think Scotland does rather well out it because we've got a thing called the Barnett formula. You did say quick, right, so you should maybe have overemphasised that. So Scotland actually does quite well out of the whole thing. And curiously, there's a conflict right there because the Scottish Government have committed to being carbon neutral by 2030, yet the economy, if we were independent, is based in North Sea oil.
And then Brexit.
I wouldn't vote for Brexit now, but I did at the time.
Okay.
Because I think it was misrepresented, it was missold to us.
Yeah.
Wasn't particularly happy about how it was managed.
Yeah.
Some of the fundamentals were there, and as I said, it's about fisheries policy, the agriculture policy. You know, there was a lot of policies that were all written in Brussels by politicians, dare I say, bureaucrats who don't really know what's happening locally. You can't tell somebody in Brussels to manage the North Sea for us, or the Irish Sea. They do both. So there's wee bits and pieces of that. I've absolutely no difficulty with freedom of movement. It was actually quite a good thing, I felt. Because people would come from overseas just for the harvesting season. There were a lot of British people who think it's beneath them to go and work in a field, you know. They're quite happy to have the produce from someone else. So that, you just say quick, that was wrong. So that was basic. I wouldn't vote for Brexit again, quite frankly. I think that was a mistake.
Future for the house.
Well, sharing it on a more permanent basis would be quite nice, you know.
Hey, world, I've got a hookup for you. A lot of goodness going on here.
And he plays a mean guitar.
What can I say? And then I'll be able to take the revolving doors off the front of the house.
So by meeting your initial need, we're going to cut your income.
So who brings the dog?
There is no dog.
So when I did the steps, I call them steps, stairs and platforms coming up and it's three different things. Mm-hmm. And that was done because, as I mentioned, my brother-in-law is visually impaired and he couldn't see the change in the steps there. So did that, and then I thought, what will I do with the space underneath it? So I just dreamt up a dog, basically, and made a kennel. So it literally is just there. And my old pullover that's in there is because my daughter's dogs, when they come here, they just, if you throw down an old pullover, they just go and lie in it. So they just like to lay in something that's a familiar smell.
Yeah.
So they like to do that. So it was just a bit of fun, really, you know.
Scottish clans.
I'm an Ayrshire lad, so I grew up in Burns country. It's where Robert Burns was born. Well, Campbells and McDonald's still don't get on. They just, the Campbells are seemingly the traitors.
Do you have any problem with the Grahams?
They're a good plumbing supplier. They're top people, yeah.
We spent 2 nights with David before heading up to Pitlochry. We had so much fun with him. We ended up coming back and staying with David again on our last night in Scotland before we dropped Tammy off at the airport. So it was one of those winning situations where we had such a good time, we came back for more.
David, thank you so much for everything. Appreciate
Yes,
all of the hospitality.
Yeah.
Appreciate the weed ram, the fires, the candlelight, the music, the jams,
The fish and chips.
the fish and chips. Yeah, loved it all. We are in Renfrewshire, just outside of Glasgow.
Really?
Yeah. Where'd you think we were?
No.
Saw that in the movies once, somebody did that, it looked good.